Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We have with us here Dr. Moataz Abdel, political analyst. Dr. Moataz, a very good afternoon, and it's a pleasure to have you with us, and we continue our conversation. Sharif, you asked a question?
Please, yeah. I wanted to ask you about your popularity has risen in the 25th of January revolution, if you agree or not on this point. And now with the different point of views, how are you seeing the revolutionaries look to you today?
Okay, it's usually what we call multidimensional events. You can look at it from different angles. The traditional way of looking at historical events is to look at them according to their consequences. They are all consequential. We made a choice to support or not to support, and eventually we end up either evaluating it as a positive thing or a negative thing. But for sure, it is not only conspiratorial mentality. You need to look at it as well from the concept of taking advantage of opportunities. I might not conspire against you when you ask me a question. I don't know what your next question might be, but I can easily, cleverly, make use of the advantage if you give me an opportunity. So lots of people think that it's a conspiracy. All what's happening is a conspiracy of themselves. Actually, I was meeting a group of congressmen, senators, and maybe even U.S. Army generals the other day, and I was very critical of them. I said, guys, at some point, some people trusted you, said these people are going to invade Iraq to create another Germany out of Iraq, another South Korea, Japan. And then you're doing lousy things. You see, absolutely stupid decisions. I said that, these exact words I used. Stupid decisions to disband the military, disband the police, disband the army, disband the bureaucracy, disband the party. What kind of ruler can eventually be a president, a minister in a country when he has no tools? Then we said you must be conspiring against us. So you are guys, Americans are like conspiring against us. And then we eventually found that most of your decisions backlash at you. You end up suffering like us. So, oh my goodness, you don't know what you're doing. You see, just actually, surprisingly, many of them agreed with me. They said, you know what? Yeah, you're right. We don't know what we're doing. We discovered suddenly that they said, yeah, but remember, all of your mistakes eventually kill people, destroy countries. You see, you are messing up the fates of a whole region. You said, like Bernard Lewis once in 1991, wrote something in which he said it is the best interest of the United States and the West not to have any mega power. You have those tiny states. So Saudi Arabia is too big from their perspective. Iraq is too big from their perspective. Syria, actually, this is what you're doing. Then eventually, Project American Century, and then like Creative Chaos. So eventually, you made us believe that we are all part of some kind of conspiracy you are leading. But you are much, much weaker than this. You look strong, you look what you're doing, but actually you don't know what you're doing. So please stop intervening in the region because you don't know us.
But they won't ever stop intervening in the region, Dr. Moataz.
Okay, I know that they won't, but I have to tell them that they are not welcome. You see, it's part
they
of
know they're not welcome. That's why
they need to hear it
this
out loud a lot. You see, you do not mess up the region. You see, you need to work with the legitimate official powers in the region. Might be a government, might be a registered NGO. Don't sneak out from the back door.
I see the President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi is always trying to send this message that he will do what's best for his country as a leadership, and he's not going to change this.
No, absolutely. And they respect our laws. You see, when we say X NGO is not welcomed in Egypt, they have to respect that. Do not sneak out from the windows or a small hole in the wall to miss in our nose. You see, we are going to stop that. We are going to stand firmly. And they have to learn that. This is not an official position of the government as well. It is supported by most Egyptians as well, that we do not want you to use backtrack channels to intervene in our affairs.
Your firm stance towards defending, like you mentioned before the break, is this creating a barrier between you and the revolutionaries?
Oh, sure. And I welcome that. I mean, when I'm highly criticized by a Thawragiyya, not Thawar, you see, I believe that the revolutionaries are those people who revolted and said, you know what, we are revolting against, not against the state. There's a huge difference. And if you don't know the difference, please shut up and stay at home. because this means that you don't know the difference between the gas and the brakes. You see, you are going to kill us. I remember very well.
But sorry, Dr. Moataz, but they want to kill us.
Some of them want to kill us.
They
Not all.
want
No, no, no,
this.
not all.
This is their
Some
aim.
revolutionaries understand. You see, and these, you see, the difference between a revolutionary and how do you call it, a fake revolutionary, if you will, acting as if revolutionary as well, is the difference between somebody who knows that the revolution is for Egypt, to serve Egypt, not serve the revolution or the revolutionaries. You see, some of the revolution got to a point where if I'm not in a good position, then the revolution failed. You
But
see?
this sounds like I'm not fully convinced, but I'm going to defend the situation. To be
Defend
open,
what?
to open with you, what you're saying sounds like I'm not really convinced with what's happening today, but I will strongly defend this state no matter what.
We have no other way but that. That's the exact same position adopted by Abraham Lincoln when he was defending the unity of the United States of America. No way out. This is the exact same position adopted by the Emperor of Japan when the Meiji was fighting.
South African apartheid, yes?
And that is exactly what did not happen in Lebanon, and that's why Lebanon is Lebanon today.
Yes.
It looks like a state, but it's not a state. You see, somebody has to win.
طب how optimistic and pessimistic are you about it, Dr. Moataz?
No, we will win. As a state, we will win. But the question is, and no, actually the challenges I'm worried about is a matter of priorities. Apart from the issue of state security, then we have lots of other problems. The serious overpopulation. You see, guys, how long this is going to take us to finish this? It's an hour. Within this hour, we are going to end up having maybe roughly 120 newborns. We have in this country 2 million newborns a year. All these projects, like Suez Canal,
Infrastructure,
millions,
yes.
all this. How many new jobs they are going to create? 1 million within 4 years. Okay, within these 4 years, we are going to have roughly 10 million new.
What about 50 years from now?
Exactly. So eventually, what are we doing to ourselves? So actually, we are careless about the future, and people don't know. We need to speak up. We need media to speak up. We need the president to speak up more. That's one of the things I was critical of him about. I said that in front of him, and I wrote that, and I said that you do not do PR. You do public policy. As a president, you don't come us and say we need to change in like religious discourse. Okay. All of us uploaded and nothing happened. This is a public relations thing. I want
There
public
has to be
policy thing.
follow-up.
Execution, yes, sir.
And we need to change laws. You see, we need to bring up the right people today. This is your mission. We have to critically look at our religious discourse. What's going on? What's wrong with our religious discourse? It's a mission. It's a mission with a time plan, with executions or decisions to be made. It's not something that to report. Media. The president was critical about media. Yes, for sure. I'm critical about media. But what did we do after that?
Nothing was done about
Okay,
it. And it's
so
very
what? So
important
that's public
'cause,
relations. You see, I want public
Is
policy.
the Egyptian state TV gonna move into a turning point and have impact on people in Egypt, or is this never gonna happen? Because it's a very important question, Dr. Moataz.
It's
'Cause
like,
we as
say
people, that individuals that work in the state TV, are really worried about this.
Okay. Ministry of Planning is working on something. The presidency, at least there is one person in the presidency assigned
Is the presidency taking this into consideration?
to some extent.
To some,
To some extent.
but they're
It's
not.
top
But
priority.
they're busy.
No, it's not top priority.
It's not.
No, in a way, because the status quo, though is not ideal from the state from the presidency's point of view, but changing it at the moment might be risky. If a good chunk of Egyptians are watching Egyptian TVs, publicly owned or privately owned, then keep things as is, because you might do big changes that eventually make people, instead of watching our own TV channels, Egyptian TV channels, they might end up watching the Al Jazeera or all the Muslim Brotherhood media accessories. So to a large extent, okay, keep it as is right now. Keep it as, don't make big changes. Plan for big, don't take serious decisions later.
Dr. Moataz, a few months ago when I made an interview with you, what you said was not this. You said that it was taken into consideration and that there was going to be change.
At that time, yes. But
At
now,
that
no,
time, but
no,
now it's not.
no.
It's
Actually,
different.
a month ago, I explicitly asked this question, and they said, no, we're not
No.
going to big changes now.
No big changes. Dr.
No, but their
Amar,
plans are in the drawers. I mean, there are plans, but to actually fire them up and start
they
executing.
still have priorities.
Not
Dr.
now.
Moataz, we want you to evaluate the Egyptian Economic Development Conference and the impact of it on our country economically, and the move on after this important conference that took place in Egypt. And how do you evaluate it?
Okay, it is like the wedding party. It went excellent, but we don't know if the marriage is going to be great or
There
not.
has to be a follow-up.
Yes, it's
Is
the
there,
ball is in our
is
field.
there
right now.
actually a committee for this follow-up?
Sure, there is a committee.
There is, and it's ready.
I'm not
and
happy with
there's-
it
You're not.
in terms of evaluating it, but because it's
You're not
mostly-
in the committee?
No, I'm not in the committee. It is a ministerial, while actually it is not supposed to be ministerial. It's not supposed to be official at all.
It has to be a non-governmental.
It has to be non-official, non-governmental. However, it would report directly to the president, and the president would assign certain ministers, certain government officials to apply what this committee would eventually end up doing. But we are reinventing the wheel. We might succeed, I don't know. We don't have a huge record of success.
So how optimistic are you about the economic summit? Because everybody, like you said, it was a wedding party, and everybody was really happy about it. And
No,
we don't know where we're gonna end, where the investments that came into Egypt at that point important for the country.
Right. Very important.
They added to the economy of
Sure,
Egypt.
I mean, everything that happened there was right. Everything. I don't have any reservations regarding any of that, like memorandum of understanding signed, or the speeches, or even the good intentions on the part of the Egyptian officials or foreign investors. What we really miss at the moment is actual, factual plan to put all this, like what's written in theory or in paper, into practice. The government, like any government,